Superior National Forest. This is outside Ely here, where we're getting an update on firefighting efforts across northern Minnesota.
That work continues. We have noticed an uptick in some heat within that area, and so we have a lot of crews in place that are doing that extensive mop-up and will continue for the foreseeable future. Along the Echo Trail, we're doing a shaded fuel break, which means we're reducing some of the fuel loading within that area, leaving some of the overstory to help create a control line, which we're utilizing as our primary line in the event the fire tries to want to move south. So a lot of crews out there utilizing different types of crews with hand tools and a lot of heavy equipment as well. That work's going to continue. It's a very long corridor. We're looking at about 15 miles, and we're probably close to 20% complete with that. Moving over to the Bear Fire, we're working closely in and around with some of the structures with structure prep. We've got the area of Big Lake. All the structures have been assessed and prepped, and we're looking at now finishing up the Whispering Pines area, which should be completed here within a few shifts. Moving on along Echo Trail, that work continues as well with that shaded fuel break as we move down towards camp. On the campfires, looking really good. Not finding a lot of heat, but any heat that's out there along our control lines, the crews are doing aggressive mop-up to help control that fire. Looking at other opportunities to try to get line completely around the camp. Also looking across the whole fire footprint, we're identifying additional mitigation measures with what we're saying a secondary line. So we're finding some opportunities to get tighter on these fires to make the box a lot smaller. So that works in the planning stages and some implementation, and that work is going to continue to try to decrease that footprint to keep it at a smaller footprint across the landscape. Of course, we have the Thumb Fire, which is in the wilderness. We did insert some crews there and identified some key areas to put in those saw lines, the hose lays, to maintain security on some of the key areas for some communities that are across to the international side. A lot of moving parts out there. We have a lot of resources in and around the communities. Those folks are there and can answer a lot of your questions. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask those folks. They're on the ground doing a lot of great work. Also with that, there's been a lot of aviation flying with the uptick in some of our fire activity over the last couple of days. So we've had a lot of aviation assets that helping check some of those fires that's in the wilderness where we're seeing some of that significant heat. It is a large organization, and safety is our #1 priority, not only for the public, but for our responders. I do want to add the folks that still remain in those ready, set areas. Be thinking about your plans in the event that we do have to change to a go. Think about what you need to take and have those ready. Don't wait till the last minute to make those, try to get those necessities to be able to leave. Please think about how you're going to get there and where you're going to go and what you need to take with you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Petrak. I'm the Fire Staff Officer for the Superior and Chippewa National Forests up in northern Minnesota. On behalf of our National Incident Management Organization team that's been delegated responsibility for the Little Knife Fire on the eastern portion of our Superior National Forest, I'm just going to give a little update on that fire. So the Little Knife Fire is approximately 4,958 acres. They have containment at 13%. The team is working on a long-term strategic plan while engaging in strategic operations as we have opportunities with the fire weather. We're ordering some additional crews. We have a plan to do some direct suppression actions in there, along with hot track crews, aviation, and some of our partners. We are in close coordination with Thunder Bay, Fort Francis in Ontario, with the northern portion of the fire predominantly up in Canada in that particular area. The long-term strategy for this team is really developing it, identifying the values at risk, working with the local cooperators along the Gunflint Trail, and doing some structure assessments as part of their planning process. Moving off of the Little Knife fire, my job is to sort of oversee all of the fire on the Superior National Forest. That's my day job. The fire, we've had approximately 26, 27 fires since this July lightning event. We have a set group of people that work on the fires that were just talked about, along with the Knife Lake fire. But one thing to keep in mind that's very important, that we have initial attack resources. Initial attack resources are resources that are set aside to be able to take on additional fires if we do get additional lightning strikes, human-caused fires. Along with utilizing our aviation assets, it's extremely important that we're working with our partners very closely, such as our county fire departments, the Sheriff's Office, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, and other federal agencies. The weather has been challenging for us in the month of July. We are seeing some drought for sure on the landscape, and we anticipate being in this for quite some time, being that it's only midsummer and August can be a challenging month for us as firefighters. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Paul Lundgren, Agency Administrator for Minnesota DNR. Just going to touch on a little bit, it's not new information, more so that as a large organization, as mentioned, with a tremendous focused effort here in this general area on multiple large fires and others that continue to be in a patrol status to be careful of and keep track of, that initial attack, you'll hear me refer to IA. That's initial attack. So that large organization focuses on the fires we have on the landscape. The local units, Forest Service, Minnesota DNR, along with the team and a contingent of resources identified with that team, remain focused on initial attack in and around this area, but beyond that, across the state of Minnesota. So as conditions continue in this drying pattern that we're experiencing right now, we are starting to see some initial attack fires that are in that Bemidji area, around the Chippewa National Forest, on lands to the west. That doesn't surprise us through this drying trend. So as that picks up, potentially, if it remains dry going forward, you will see some resources reallocated. And when I say reallocated, it's not taking away from the efforts here, but to bring others in or move folks around within the state to make sure we do stay prepared for initial attack in other places. It could include aviation, additional engines, and ground personnel. Right now we're in good shape. It's a good reminder that we still pay attention across the state while we are still very focused here on the large organizational approach with resources here to manage what we have on the landscape here. Locally, there have been a small number of fires. Most of that followed in a July lightning event that occurred last Friday. If you remember last Friday morning, some showers come in, there was lightning associated with that. We started to see a little bit of initial attack uptick that Sunday into Monday. And then if you remember Tuesday morning, some more rain came in, a little bit associated with lightning. And so we'll watch for that now. It's been 2, 3, 4 days from there. Continues to dry out, so we'll look for that. But we do remain prepared, not only here, but across the state.
Good afternoon. Tim Loma, Chief Deputy of the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Today I'm just going to speak specifically about the Lake County evacuations. I'm not going to go into St. Louis County just because I don't have authority to speak on that. Due to the great work being done on the fire by the fire crews on the camp house fire, or not camp house fire, but on the campfire, we were able to offer the displaced property owners an opportunity to access their property yesterday from 8 to 2. So basically what we did is we were able to have them check in. We had deputies escort them to their property. They were able to do their thing, and we escorted them out. We anticipate that about 110 properties were visited with approximately 250 people. It was a very big success. Lots of happy property owners. Again, we continue to meet daily with Shane and his team, along with our local, state, and federal partners, to assess the evacuation zone status, with the ultimate goal being let people back into their properties. Again, I cannot thank the residents, property owners, and business owners for their understanding and patience during this event. Again, thank you to all the fire crews that are out there putting in the long hours, hard work to battle these fires, to keep them spreading. Again, I would also like to just take a moment, remind people to sign up for your county's emergency notifications. That's going to be the best way to get that official notification on whether evac zones change or if there's any special offerings going to be available to property owners. That's all I got for now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Hall. I'm the agency administrator for the Forest Service. I'm going to make announcements related to the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness closures. We've made 2 announcements. On Monday, July 27th, parts of Cook County within the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness will be made available for day use permits. And then again on Thursday, July 30th, parts of Cook and Lake counties in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness will be made available for overnight permits. This is in effect a potential reduction in the Boundary Waters closure. Obviously, we are assessing on a daily basis what those fire conditions might look like, what those weather conditions might look like, and what those resource availability are, both within the Forest Service and those other jurisdictional agencies, whether those announcements will go into effect on Monday and Thursday. But at this point, that is the plan as we announced in the press releases. Thank you.
My name is Ryan Fleeman. I'm the incident meteorologist here assigned on the fire. As far as we go, since the last time we met, overall, before we were kind of in the bottom to where we had moist conditions, our temperatures were below normal, and we saw those winds subside a little bit. Well, we're finally starting to move up, kind of that uptick over the last couple days. Today was kind of that culmination of, we were expecting the breezy winds. We're starting to see that in some areas around the fire. Our temperatures have kind of They've maximized a little bit simply because we brought in cloud cover from storms that occurred to our west. As far as we move through the day today, we are expecting to see continued showers for the region. We've seen some of that in and around the fire footprint itself, although very light. I expect to continue to see that through the afternoon hours and into the evening hours. Now, as we move into tonight, that's when I do see our greatest chance for some showers and thunderstorms around the region. Expect to see stuff that's over in the Dakotas and Canada right now continue to move into our area. Now, the good thing with it is it's a very good chance of precipitation. The bad thing is it does come with some hazards as well as lightning, some gusty outflow winds, and maybe even some small hail. So those are all things that we've got some positives with it, but we've also got some negatives. So as we get through the evening and overnight hours, we do expect to see that move through the area. Moving into tomorrow, we expect to see those storms move to our east, giving way to a pleasant day tomorrow. And then as we move into Sunday, there is another threat for severe weather as well. So that's going to be on the radar as we move forward, is seeing, getting through this evening and tonight, and then seeing what Sunday looks like as we move forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Hall. I was brought in to help forecast air quality by the forest to support the incident management team. Currently what we're seeing is a lot of high-level smoke that's causing quite a bit of haze in the area. A lot of this smoke is from fires in Canada and in the western United States. It's not coming from smoke from these fires right now. It's not causing any issues from a public health standpoint at the surface. We're mostly looking at good to moderate air quality all across Minnesota. With the strong southwest winds, they're going to continue to kind of push any smoke that's generated from these fires into Canada overnight. With the expected rain that's coming in this afternoon on these fires, we're expecting those conditions to remain in place throughout the whole weekend and next several days. Is good to moderate air quality. We are, looking at if we don't get rain, the winds will shift tomorrow from a northwest direction and could push smoke back into this area. But we're not expecting that. We're just looking at it in case we don't get any rain, but it's not expected. Those impacts, if they were to occur, would be just localized into areas near the fire. We did set up some monitors last couple days in Ely, one on the Minnesota Northern College, and so that one will be left here once all the fire personnel have left. So there will be some way to continue to monitor air quality in this area. We have also set up another monitor here at the ranger station. Those can all be seen on the fire and smoke map. If people do an internet search, they'll find that and they'll be able to see what those conditions are. And it's a great place for the public to maintain and see what the current conditions are. But over the weekend, we're looking at similar conditions to what we're seeing right now, probably a little bit better once the rain rolls through. Thanks.
Thanks, Josh. And now we'll open it up to questions, Q&A. Go ahead and ask away.
There's been a lot of gratitude for the crews that have come in from out of town. But can someone speak to the impact of our local volunteer firefighter departments that have set people up? They're pretty proud of being able to help, so maybe you guys could reflect on what that means for the whole team.
Sure. I very much appreciate the question. They do deserve a lot of recognition. They are here every day. And how that works is through the Minnesota State Fire Marshal's Division, helping to coordinate those fire departments to come in based on a need on a daily basis, so day and night shift, running both shifts. They have been out there as additional resources become available, and to try and reduce a little bit of that stress on the fire departments. You'll see a little bit less. We've downsized that a little bit, but they still remain active. And mutual aid throughout the Minnesota Fire Service is tremendous. They respond, they're volunteers, they set aside what's going on in their daily lives to come support not only the fire department, but the local community. And you see that time and time again. So as part of the DNR, working every day on wildfire, especially IA, initial attack, with fire departments across the state. Number one, they're set up in the right spot already. And when you ask for one, you get them all. So I appreciate you bringing that up. They are involved right now. You'll see some numbers reduce a little bit as resources become more available. But right now, they still continue to run a day shift and a night shift.
The crews that come from out of town, have they anything anecdotally that you've heard about this situation, this fire that they really like, find challenging? Maybe it's the same everywhere, I don't know. But maybe you've heard from some of the teams from out of town what they like or think is different about these fires.
Hey, thanks for that question. So the question was, is there anything unique or different from our off-forest, out-of-state resources that are helping contribute to the suppression efforts? I would say everybody thinks this place is unique. It's really special up here in northeastern Minnesota. If you've done any traveling outside the Boundary Waters area or greater Minnesota, you realize that the landscape is significantly different. Traveling to a fire via, if it's float plane, canoe, or boat, is something very unique. It would be comparable to maybe some of the Alaska fires that we see on a national level. I feel like people like coming here. We do as best as we can for the hospitality, welcome them to our area. A lot of resources have been here in the past, but fighting fire in northern Minnesota, and especially the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, is very, very unique. It's got its unique challenges. It's a different fuel type that most of the lower 48 states don't have. And they usually end up, working very hard, and at the end of their assignment, it's pretty memorable for them in this unique ecosystem that we have.
So also I've heard, the numbers are increasing daily, but
Initial attack.
Initial attack, sorry.
So the question is, how many ready reserve or ready firefighters do we have available for initial attack?
So I'm going to speak to what's around the Chubb side. We do have a large contingent area there, and we have several folks in a task force. That includes heavy equipment, that includes crews, that includes overhead. So those folks are poised and ready to go and fight any initial attack, new starts, to keep those in a small containment. For the area around the Sioux, the Bear, and Camp, we have a smaller footprint with what is our IA responsibility. We have the same organization identified within that area. So within our TFR, which is the flight restriction area, that is our response area for any new IA. With that, we have the heavy equipment, the crews, and the overhead needed to jump on those to make them to keep them at a very small footprint. So we're poised and ready for any new starts within our response area. Thank you.
Any updates on structures that have been impacted? And if there is not any information on that, when could property owners expect to get information?
All right, we've been listening into the update here from Ely with the National Forest Service and others talking about the current conditions and the firefighting efforts for so many fires across northern Minnesota. One thing that they pointed out that I want to reiterate here is in terms of the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, emphasizing that Monday, the 27th, parts of Cook County will open up for day use into the Boundary Waters. And then Thursday, the 30th, parts of both Cook and Lake counties will be opening up for overnight use, for overnight permits in the Boundary Waters. They talked about some uptick in temperatures and winds, potential precipitation overnight tonight, which is good, but comes with the hazards of lightning, wind, hail. That could be a problem for the folks working there. But otherwise, no smoke issues at this point, no issues for public health at the surface. So we got to take a quick break here, though, on All Day Live. And